everybody, Kate Malloy here again from Malloy Events. We have another amazing advanced staffer that we want to interview today to learn about the process and what they went through and the talents they bring to the table. Adrienne, you're here. Tell us your name and the position you worked and which candidate you worked with.
So my name is Adrienne Birengo. I was an advanced associate for the Warren for President campaign. I also served as New Hampshire trip lead for a lot of the campaign and then transitioned over into an operations role for the department.
What was it like working for the senator?
It was incredible. I've had the privilege of working for her for about 5 years, but working on the campaign for her, my favorite part was really watching her connect with people, being a part of the photo lines that became famous, being able to see little girls look up to her and know that girls can run for president was really powerful. And, you know, working for someone that is that accessible was, you know, just really fantastic and rewarding.
Yeah, this is a good one. And a lot of people don't understand the fact that we have to have the audience ready and that experience, and then also what the camera's going to see, because CNN's going to probably show it, or Fox, or whoever. So what do you look for when you set up a live event with those two things in mind?
Yeah, exactly. You have to take into account a lot of different factors for a live event. You have to make sure that the folks in the room are taken care of, that they feel that their time is being respected. They took time out of their day to have a part of our democracy. So you have to take care of the people first, and then you have to make sure you're taking care of the press in order to make sure that they have everything that they need to broadcast the event to a larger audience. So, you know, the overall objective of an event is for the senator to be able to get her message to as many people as possible, to connect with as many voters as possible. And at a live event, the stakes are a lot higher. Any mistake that happens and any issue or problem that arises is broadcast right alongside, you know, what she's doing, what she's saying. So you have to look out for basically any possible problem that could arise. Hopefully you've pre-planned them out of existence, but obviously that doesn't always happen.
Right.
So, you know, that could be a problem with production or lighting or sound. You know, obviously we didn't have those issues because you're so amazing.
I love PSAs built right in. I love it.
It could be a problem, and
Sure.
you could also have problems with potentially protesters or some other type of issue. Maybe you have like a medical emergency or something that distracts from the senator being able to get her message across.
There are a lot of beautiful venues indoors and outdoors in the state of New Hampshire and all the states that you visited. What do you look for in a venue when you're scouting?
Yeah. So first you have to look for the location that the campaign actually wants to be in, whether that be a town or a congressional district or maybe an area or a region. It's kind of the first step. Then you also have to look for the appropriate size venue and make sure that that venue can also translate to camera and TV well. So does it have high enough ceilings? Are there problematic, you know, architecture aspects like columns that would be in the way, or, you know, windows that we would have to kind of figure out lighting around. And then, you know, you have to look for if a venue also communicates the type of message and event that you're trying to do. So if you're doing an event that you know the senator will be speaking on education funding or something, you know, maybe a theater isn't as natural of a venue to have that conversation. Maybe a school is a better location. So my favorite thing to look for in a venue is really like a sense of place. Can I showcase that we are in New Hampshire? Does it look like New Hampshire? If not, you know, does it fit the message of the event?
That's the best segue to my two out of my three favorite questions today. What was your favorite New Hampshire event and why?
It's really, really hard to pick one. I think Franconia was probably my favorite. At Toad Hill Farm, it was absolutely
That was so beautiful. The weather, everything.
It's a beautiful venue. It's a beautiful location. And the backdrop was basically the White Mountains behind the Senator. Yes, there was some bunting on the split rail fence.
Hey.
A flag on a hay bale, which is always fun. But the backdrop of the mountains, and being able to show that she was in New Hampshire, and it was a beautiful summer day. It really couldn't have gotten any better than that.
That's probably one of our favorite days. So Rachel and I were not on that event. We came down to the private event we did in Wolfboro. This beautiful home,
Also
just
gorgeous.
So beautiful. We were on the phone with you while you were up there because you were advancing us at our site. But Christopher and our team were in Franconia, and that's one where she went viral for running, which was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. 2, you don't live in New Hampshire, and I grew up north, and the amount of days you get clear skies to have the mountain view that you had is pretty darn rare, that you were able to sort of experience that. And there was a huge crowd. It was just like all winds, and we felt it from Franconia in Wolfboro before you guys arrived. The vibe of that day was just full of momentum, and it was a really positive day. So that makes sense that you picked that one. That was a good day. It was hot. It was hot that day in Wolfboro moving chairs, but that was one of our first events where we had a full female staff moving chairs, undoing chairs, all of that. That's the day that you met our staff member Melissa, who helped you with porta potties on an event which might have actually been Franconia, right? That was the porta potty gig.
Yeah.
God, I should have called her in to have you here for that. That was a great all around. I think that was a great trip for us. I'm glad it was the one that you liked the most. Which brings us to the also very interesting question: what was your most challenging, not least favorite, not just most challenging event in New Hampshire, and why? Why was it tough?
Yeah, it was definitely the last event that I actually did before moving over into the operations role, which I think is a little funny.
I'm out. No.
Exactly. But it was our New Hampshire filing day event, where the senator was filing to be on the ballot, and it was the coldest day we'd had thus far. It was probably
Agreed.
like 15 degrees at dawn when we were building. We went through a lot of hand warmers, a lot of toe warmers, a lot of hot chocolate. And it was difficult on a human level because it was that cold. But it was also difficult, I'm sure you can attest, from the production standpoint, with making sure that, equipment stays warm and functional, and making sure that iPhones are working throughout the cold.
Right.
Unfortunately, we didn't really have any power over that, but our communications was definitely more difficult because, I lost iPhone communication, and I'm really proud that we were able to execute the event that we did throughout all of those difficulties, which makes it one of my favorite as well. But knowing that my team knew where they needed to be at all times, knowing that they could anticipate what was going to happen, where they needed to be, you guys knowing exactly what had to happen on the production standpoint, again, because we've worked together so many times, it ended up being just fine despite our difficulties.
Yeah, that one is probably, for your team, probably one of our most challenging. I mean, I don't even know that it was 15 degrees in the sun. It was the legitimately coldest day of the year. We've never had to wrap blankets and heaters around our mixer outside, and we had to make an entire tent around our mixer to keep it functioning and warm. And we had major wind issues, which you remember we went through like 18 different iterations of how the flags were going to be hung, and we ended up having Chris he just did it because he's how he works. It's build you a custom flag holder that was high enough and worked well in all the shots, but then wasn't going to fall down again. You'd have a flag fall down and never work again. So there's these things that we're constantly worried about. But it's interesting that when you were talking, it made me think, in our event world outside of political, we never go that far to push the boundaries of outdoor space. We always have a plan B that's inside. So we would never have been outside ever if it wasn't for the political season. And you guys, all campaigns, you always push as far as you can go because it's the setting and the moment and thing that you want. It's the steps to the State House, and it's the place to be. But it forces us to kind of get creative sometimes and think outside of our box, and also have hand warmers and 5 sweatshirts on and all the things that we need for our mixer to have our own little heat bath, because that's another challenge in the political world, is there's always, unless it's rain, you're going to do it outside. I think if it was snowing, you guys would have been outside. I know you would have. It wouldn't have changed it. Rain's like the only thing I think that stops you guys, anyone, from doing an event outside. So it was interesting, and we feel the same way. That was a bondy, freezing. It was. I think I took a photo of your team all bundled up where you couldn't see any faces, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. And
yeah, and it was that cold before anyone was really ready for it to be that cold,
right?
Which made it that much worse. But
Fully agree with that.
You brought up the wind, and I'm remiss that I didn't mention it, but basically, you know, to go into an event having a particular vision, and then have something that's completely out of our control, out of your control, out of my control, you know, come in and basically affect that vision. It's really difficult on an event, you know, lead, and having your team be able to deliver, you know, a custom brace to make sure that those flags weren't going anywhere, you know, to maintain some semblance of that vision was really important. And it was important to our team to have the type of event and the type of visual representation of, you know, the moment that we wanted. So.
Yeah, that's one of Chris's secret sauce, is he can basically, what do you need? Okay, and build it in 5 minutes, and just have all the tools or don't have the tools and go and get them. That's what he's best at. So he's very poised. A lot of campaigns are spoiled because Chris can build things and think of things really fast, but he knows when he has to make the call and what it has to be. So that was fun to watch him do, and he did it pretty fast too, which was kind of and freezing with his hands. So this 2 more questions for you. What is unique about New Hampshire? You've traveled all over the country. Like what's something unique you experienced here that makes you go, oh, loved being in New Hampshire, besides us?
Yeah, I think how engaged people are. I think in New Hampshire, a lot of at least primary voters consider that they want to meet candidates 4 times before they actually make a choice. And I'm not exaggerating. That's a
that's a real number.
real number. So folks are engaged. They want to attend events. They want to hear the message from all the candidates, and they want to make their choice after meeting folks. And that's really unique, I think, that sort of enthusiasm. And part of it probably stems from New Hampshire having such a large legislature and, you know, a community type of government approach. But it does make it unique. It does change the entire dynamics of an event and who you're meeting and who the senator is meeting. So.
Yeah, we're pretty serious in our state. I definitely have seen the same person 6 different times. Or we have this beautiful venue in Portsmouth called South Church that almost every candidate goes, and you see the same people because we want to be informed. We're a small state, and we can get from top to bottom in 4 hours. So why not, right? Travel around, and people, I think we take a lot of pride as Granite Staters to be able to say that we've met every candidate, we listen to all their things and all their choices and decisions. And I think that's great that it speaks to you, because it definitely is how we feel every day here in New Hampshire. So our last question is my favorite question. And we know that you travel all over the country. You have multiple days, multiple shows in one day. You don't have a schedule where you say, I'm going to eat dinner at this restaurant and I'm going to have time to go to the grocery store. So we thought it'd be fun to ask everybody, if you went to a gas station or whatever market or whatnot, and you picked out your best meal, what was it? Where were you, if you even remember where that was? But we'd love to sort of have a little fun part of Advance.
Yeah. Well, on the road, I was more of a McDonald's person, you know, nuggets and whatnot. But favorite Speedway snacks for sure. Flips, white chocolate flips.
Oh, white chocolate. Interesting.
Yeah, they're better. Yeah.
They're just better. Okay.
Yeah. You know, it's just really whatever snack can get you through the day. Like you said, you don't really have time for full meals sometimes, but in New Hampshire, when I would stop and get a common man burger.
Oh yeah, we have a couple common mans in our state, and their burgers
they're all around. So, you know, it's sort of a reliable, you can find one on your route.
Yep. Yeah, not a bad choice. Yeah. So I just want to thank you very much for spending the time with us, talking we reminisce about all the events that we did and how many gray hairs we've gained from the years and months and days we've spent together. And for, you know, all of the people in advance, this is just yet another example of the amount of talent that these people have and the sort of really fine detail that they have to work through and with personnel, with the senator, and who's working on that team and who's literally moving her around, to what it looks like on camera, to what it looks like in the audience, to the experience afterwards, to working with the venue and the fire marshals and the permitting and all those things. Everything you can imagine that you would need in an event planner or designer, this group of individuals have, and they have it like times 1,000 because they had to do it in a really short amount of time and with very little notice. So thank you for sharing all the fabulous things that you are and you have done and will do again. And we're glad to see that you're happy and safe. And yeah, that is it for today. So thank you so much, Adrienne.
Thank you.